This is the Spartan Body and Mind podcast. I'm your host, Seth Winterhalter. Today, we're talking about what do you do when you're in a funk? You're just in that negative Eeyore kind of funky place, and you can't seem to get out of it. Want to help you. Want to break through that. And I want to encourage you to do two things right away. First, like, subscribe, comment, do something. If you're listening today and you're encouraged by what you hear, you're inspired to take action, I want to encourage you to do something to help the algorithms, help this get into the ears, into the eyes of more people. So if you're listening to this on a podcast, maybe share the link, tell your friends about it through whatever social media you're using. If you're watching this on YouTube, I encourage you, you want to see my ugly face, go to YouTube and maybe you can gauge a little bit more with the content, write a comment to how this has helped you, what you're going to put into action, take responsibility to do something with the content instead of just listen. And so I want to help you here. What do you do when you're in a funk? Again, also go to the Spartan Facebook group, Spartan Body and Mind, and if we can help you get out of that funk and take real action, you may consider joining the Spartan program. You can go to thespartanprogram.com and read more about our paid program to help you really take action and transform your life. What do you do when you're in a funk? What do you do when you get in this negative, just everything seems to be going the wrong direction? You're struggling with your nutrition, you're struggling with your workout, you're struggling with your mindset, you're the party pooper at work, you come home and you're just you just can't get out of this funk. Everything is frustrating and annoying. Have you ever been there? Are you there right now? Well, if so, here's a few things that maybe will help you when you get frustrated, when you get stressed, when you start to get apathetic. And here's the danger is, there's just something about apathy that's easy. It's kind of like when you were a kid, remember they used to say, like, it takes more muscles in your face to smile than it does to frown. It's much easier to frown than it is to smile. Well, let me tell you, it's also much easier to be an Eeyore than it is to be a Tigger. And I'm not saying you want to be a Tigger, everything's this optimism in a really pie in the sky kind of weird way. I'm not saying that either. But man, I just don't know anything about an Eeyore personality that's going to do anything good for you, that's going to help you get ahead in life, going to help you live intentionally, going to help you live with purpose, help you experience all the joy that really life has to offer when you take responsibility for it and carve out the life that you really want to live. And remember, your life is yours. You shouldn't be listening to others or being you want to be inspired by the things around you, but you don't want to be forced, right? You don't want to be forced to say, oh, well, this is what a happy life looks like, a tiny home in Idaho. Maybe for somebody, not for everyone, right? Not for me. I have a lot of friends moving to Idaho and Montana. Let me tell you, not interested at all. The weather is bad enough in Western Seattle with gray. The last thing I want is snow. I am trying to get to somewhere warm, right? I'm trying to get to, I was in Palm Springs this last spring, and I was like, why would anyone ever leave here? And it's to each his own, right? Some people want warm. Some people love the four seasons. Some people love Mars and they want to move there. And so to each his own. You've got to decide what's you. And that may be why you're in a funk. You're trying to live out someone else's ideal life, someone else's dream. So the first thing is just be aware that, when you get into this apathy, why are you there, right? Try to identify. That's the number one thing. Try to identify the source of your funk. Sometimes we've been in the funk for so long that when we try to identify the source, we're actually identifying secondary things. We're identifying things that have happened recently that actually aren't the source. It may take you some real assessment to go, what is the source of this? How long have I been in a funk? And you may ask, right? If you have friends in your life that have been with you, you can say, man, how do you notice that I've been in kind of a funk? And if they're all, you can say, man, try to be honest with me, because I'm not asking you to just ask yes or no. I am in a funk. I've come to realize that, and I'm trying to figure out how long I've been in this, because Maybe I've been in this longer than I know because I'm trying to identify what's the source of this. So again, ask your friends and they may say, yeah, it seems like you've kind of been in this for like 6 months. And you may go back in your calendar, right? And go, what happened 6 months ago? Like what was going on with my relationships? What was going on with work? And you'll probably find something significant. And maybe you don't think it was significant, but maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't significant in that it was some initial thing that happened, right? You had some big fight with your girlfriend, boyfriend, or spouse, or some, you got fired from work. I mean, it might be that would seem to be an easier identification for the source. It may have been the last straw, right? It may have been that was like the 7th project in a row that you did a ton of work for at work and didn't get credit for. Someone else came in and stole the limelight, and you felt like you did a ton of work and didn't get rewarded for it, didn't get appreciated for it. And it was just the last straw. So it wasn't the first time. It was just the last. And since then, you've just been MIA. You're just kind of punching the clock now. You're just kind of, and does that make sense? Like, it may not have been the initial point of a frustration. It may have just been the last straw of a continued one, but that's when you went into the funk. Before, you were trying to fight through it. You're trying to, okay, how can I? And then it was just like, this is done. Same thing over and over. So go back and identify that source and make sure it's not a secondary source. Make sure it's a primary source. Make sure it is, try to really hone in and go, what happened? And then what do? Then you have to ask yourself this: what can I do about it? And here's where you need to be really honest. What can I do about it? There are 3 things. 3 things you need to consider. Number 1, there's nothing you can do about it. That what happened was about someone else doing something to you that you don't really, that it happened, it occurred. Maybe you've tried to call it out. Maybe you tried to have reconciliation, and it is what it is. And there's nothing you can do about it physically. There's nothing that you can do. Now be careful here, because don't make it an excuse. Well, there's nothing I can do. No, there is something you can do. But if there's nothing you can do about, if your boss just does not want to appreciate, if the work culture that you're in is just so toxic and is not changing, and you've just kind of succumbed to it and said it is what it is, well, and if you have to for some reason stay in that job, maybe you have something that's, I don't know, right? This is where you have to really do some work. But if there truly is nothing that you can do about it, then here's what you can do about it. You can change your thoughts. You can go, okay, this happened. This is a reality. How do I think? I'm not going to let them and what they've done and what they're doing continue to affect my mental disposition. You're in a funk mentally. And so you've got to change your thoughts. You've got to go, okay, this is what it is. And I can come in and still do a good job and punch my clock and live my life, right? You can make that choice, but you've got to do some thinking work. If there's nothing you can truly do to change the situation, then what you can do is change your thought life, change your thoughts and how you think of it. And that's a harder position, because is there really truly nothing? There may be something you can do. Identify, what is that something? What is the source of my funk? And is there something I can do? Then I would encourage you, take that action. Maybe you haven't gone to your boss and said, hey, this is the 7th time that you've asked us to do a group thing, and 3 times in a row, 4 times, 7 times in a row, Tom comes in and Tom gets all the credit at the end. And here I am, no one else gets appreciated. It's always Tom, just because Tom presents it, or Tom has the biggest voice, or whatever, right? You need to go have that conversation, and you need to be, hey, I just need to be honest here, and I need to tell you what's frustrating me. And the reason I'm in a funk because of this, and I want to be honest so we can figure out how to move forward, because I want to do my best. I want to love coming to work. I want to be passionate about work, but this has happened so many times, it's now put me in a negative disposition to my work, right? Have you clarified and communicated? I find that so many things are the way they are because of a lack of communication. This is in relationships. This is in the workplace. This is in all of life. If we would just open our mouths, if we would communicate and not communicate when the problem is most of the time if we do communicate, we communicate when we're so fed up, when we are so emotionally volatile that's how we communicate is with emotional volatility. Instead, be more mature, be more in control and say, how can I communicate with emotional control, with clarity, and with solutions, right? Especially if you're going to go to your boss, you're going to go to someone who can actually then do something about it. Make sure that you have clarity and solutions. Like it would be helpful because if there are no solutions, it just sounds like you're complaining. And maybe you do need to make a complaint. That's fine. But what can you do? Can you do something about it? You can offer a better solution. And so what can you do about it? Maybe there's nothing. And then you have to change your thoughts about it. Maybe there's something, and I want to encourage you, if there is something, take action right away. Number 3, what can you do about it? Maybe it's everything. Maybe everything, the reason you're in a funk is really entirely on you. It's in your thoughts and it's in your actions. So you need to change your thoughts and change your actions. So the number one thing you can do is identify the source of your funk. When you're in a funk, identify the source. Number 2, ask yourself, what can I do about it? Now that I know the source, can I do nothing about it? Well, I can do something that's changed my thoughts about it. I can let it stop taking so much real estate in my mind, and I can do something to change my thoughts about it. Or can you do something about it? If there's something you can do, take action right away. If there's everything, if it's really all on you, and sometimes it's that we're the source. We are the source. We have just we've allowed false beliefs, false narratives, limiting beliefs, foolishness creep into our mind and sabotage us. And so you need to change your thoughts right away, and you need to do something action-wise to put you on a different plane, put you on a different trajectory, and move you to a different destination. Number 3, so number 1, we identify the source. Number 2, we ask, what can we do about it? And then we do something with our thoughts and with our actions. Number 3, we do a reset, right? What do you do to clear your head? This is why I love the gym, because every day, except for Sunday, every day, I know I'm going to have a time in my schedule to just reset. That no matter what happens to the day, if my day was great, perfect, I'm going to reset. I don't want to live out of that. I don't want to live on mountaintops. I want to live in reality. I'm going to celebrate the day. That's going to be a good workout. Celebrate that. But I'm going to reset for tomorrow so I get after it again. I'm not going to live in my laurels. I'm going to get after it again. If I have a bad day, I'm going to go to the gym and reset and go, that day's over. New day's coming, right? Gym is such a reset for me. Maybe it's a walk. Maybe you have multiple times in the day where maybe you experience something, you go, okay, I'm in a funk now. Go for a walk. I think a walk outside, man, especially if you got some good weather, sunny weather, a walk, fresh air can clean your headspace right up. Here's another thing. Get away. Get away. What can you do to get away? What can you do to take a weekend? What can you do to take some vacation time? You know how many vacation hours are not used in a year by like the American workforce? The amount of hours is staggering. Why is that? Well, I feel so bound. I feel like everything will fall apart. It's not going to fall apart. It just, you know how many people retire and the business goes on, life goes on, and they're like, was I even important? Was I even necessary? No, because there's other people that will fill your spot. Things will get done. And so there's a good thing to be loyal. There's a good thing to be faithful, but don't be so in your head about your own self-importance that you live an unhealthy life, right? You need to have breaks. You need to have rest. You should be sleeping every night. Why? Because you need rest. You need recuperation. You also need to just sometimes get away, get a reset. And maybe that's just a drive. Maybe that's a 2-day getaway. Maybe that's a week getaway. You got to decide that for yourself. But make sure you are figuring out, how do you reset? When you're in a funk, the problem with a funk is you're laying track. You are laying habits of your mind. where your headspace is, what your mind is dwelling on. And the deeper those ruts get, the harder it is to get out. So be aware when you get into a funk. Be aware that, man, I got to get out of this. I got to reset. How can you reset? Is it something that can be reset in a day? Something that can be reset in a weekend? Something that can be reset in a week? Maybe you need a sabbatical, right? It's that much of a rut that now you really need to get, or maybe you need to change. That environment's not good for you anymore. You need a total change. You got to figure that out. And if we can help, let us know, right? This is what I mean. Again, the Spartan program is a part of a larger larger thing. That's the Halting Winter Coaching and Consulting Company. The Spartan program is our really, we have a 3-part mission, and that is we help men become leaders. That's the Spartan program, helping men take ownership of the totality of their life. We want you to be a leader of yourself, a leader in your home, a leader in your workplace, a leader in your community, a leader in the totality of every area of your life. So the first thing of Halting Winter is we turn men into leaders. Number 2, we help leaders become more impactful. So we do executive coaching to try to help you become more impactful with your leadership. And so that may be you, where you're like, man, I'm in a funk. I need some executive coaching. I need some help to assess, because I've tried to assess and I'm just too in the weeds to even see. And so we would love to come alongside and help with that. So again, we turn men into leaders. We do that through the Spartan program. If you're interested in becoming really the man that you were born to be, a man who leads every aspect of life, and that starts with you physically, starts with you mentally, starts with you emotionally, and that's what the Spartan program does. Gets you on, transforms you from a place of either apathy or negativity into a place of positivity when it comes to leading yourself. Go to the Spartan program and check that out. If you need executive coaching, go to haltingwinter.com, or you can just hit me up on any of the socials, Seth Winterhalter, and I'd love to have a chat with you. So if you're in a funk, get out of it. Identify the source. Ask yourself what you can do about it. Change your thoughts. Take action. And then 3, reset. How do you do a reset? Is it a day reset, a weekend reset, a week reset, a life reset? Let us know if we can help. Until next time.